Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time once again for another episode of Health Talks with Dr. Trinh. The one show, the only show to show you the path to a healthier life, one conversation at a time. And today, well, we have a very different conversation. I'll put it that way. We're going to talk about weight loss in a way you may not have heard about before here. Let's bring in Penny Foskaris. Did I say it correctly?
Yes, you did.
Penny owns a place called, what, Foskaris Wellness? You're where, in Laguna?
In Anaheim Hills, actually. We've been here for 3.5 years.
Okay, Anaheim Hills. And you focus on all sorts of, should we call them alternative therapies or different therapies? Or?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people come in for weight loss, but then they come in and there's so much more that we help them with. But our main focus in here is we have red light therapy. We have a full bed that does head to toe skin tightening, fat melting, and we'll go into how everything works.
Absolutely, because you say that so casually, like, oh, we have red light therapy. I never heard of red light therapy. What the heck is red light therapy?
Red light therapy, actually I kind of show you one of our domes here. I have this so you can kind of understand. Okay, so we got some red lights here, right? We got the 635 nanometer lights, okay?
Right.
Also, near infrared light too, that goes deeper into the dermis, the 880 nanometer. So the way that it works, when it goes to about 1,000 nanometers, it starts curving back up, so it's not going to do anything more. But the 635 nanometer stays more at the surface, and we're able to do surface skin rejuvenation, and it also is able to penetrate into the fat cells. And so what it does, the best way to show you is, we're going to take this ball here, right? We'll pretend this is a fat cell.
All right.
You see that?
Kind of looks like a fat cell.
So what happens is that the body is able to now work better. I'll tell you, red light therapy increases ATP, which is the battery in the cell, just to put it easily. But it liquefies the fat in the cell, and then the cell opens up its pores, and the fat comes out. So it releases it. Now, the fat cell stays intact. We don't want to damage the fat cell.
That's what I was going to ask. I mean, are you just blasting the fat cell? Are you blowing it up?
Actually, the fat cell opens up its pores. The fat cell stays healthy. Now, some people say, well, why don't you just get rid of the fat cell, right? Let's get rid of it. But what happens is when you get rid of the fat cell, and if somebody gains weight again because they're not following what they need to do, or they become on vacation, they don't want to do anything, and they're just sitting around drinking margaritas, right? The body doesn't say, well, I don't have fat cells where I usually store your fat. It doesn't say, I'll just pass them through. The fat goes somewhere else. I have had people who had even like full body liposuction, and now they have these Popeye arms, right? Their forearms are super big, their calves are super big. And so we're having to wrap the light and make corrections to their body. And a lot of times, one of the misconceptions about weight loss is that people think that only if you overconsume food will you gain weight. But if you go under a certain point, which is your basal metabolic rate, that's the minimum calories your body needs just to stay alive. If you go below that, even if I manipulate your fat cells to open up, right, and take it out, the body says, well, you know what, you need 1,500 calories. And I'll tell you how we determine what determines that. You only ate 1,200 and you worked out, you did whatever. I'm not releasing any fat. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take your muscle away. So it starts taking away the muscle from the body, because I'm going to show you my Mr. Bob here, right? Mr. Bob has body parts. So do we, right?
Right.
Every single organ in your body needs nutrition. The body can't just work by itself. Good morning, Dr. Trinh. It needs nutrition to function. So
let's hang on for 1 second. Let's get Dr. Trinh in here and get him up to speed of what we're talking about. He's driving somewhere. He pulled over. He's always on the way to something, and we're glad he stopped by to say hi.
Yes.
Where are you at, Dr. Trinh?
Oh, I'm on my way to Alzheimer's Orange County.
All right. And you're just pulled over somewhere, and you're going to chat with us from the car here.
You know how they have those backseat drivers in the car?
Yeah.
I will be a backseat chatter. You guys are doing the chat, and I'll be in the backseat chatting in.
Okay. Well, Penny was catching us up, and maybe you can comment on this before Penny picks it back up. I asked, I guess, a question that exploded everything. I said, why don't we just get rid of the fat cells? Why are we holding on to any of these suckers here? And she's going through a very detailed analysis of how you can even do everything right, eat less calories than you need. I'm taking in less. I'm exercising more. I should be burning off fat. and instead I'm gaining fat. I'm gaining ground. What do you think about that, Dr. Trinh? Is this your experience here? What's going on? It's more than just exercising and eating right?
Yeah, it's metabolism, and it's important to eat enough to at least fulfill your body's basic metabolic needs on a daily basis. We don't want to have a consistent low-calorie diet because our body's it's going to slow down its metabolism when it's like, there's no food every day. And so when this diet is done and you're back to a regular diet, you have a slower metabolism, which is why people gain all the weight they have back. They've lost back.
And I know Penny's going to go, she got a little model. She's going to go back into this again here. But let's explore this for a second, because isn't that the frustration that we all feel? I go through these crash diets. I don't eat. I starve myself, or I eat a certain type of food. I eat carbo. I eat this. I eat grapefruit. Whatever all these fads are. And then when it's over, I gain weight right back again.
Yeah. I especially like the seafood diet because I eat all the food I see.
Okay.
My favorite diet.
There you go. So let's let Penny start over again. She was trying to explain when she was going through this so fast, my head's spinning. So bring Mr. Bob back up, our little cutaway doll.
So here's Bob. And so I was talking about your basal metabolic rate, just like Dr. Trinh said. So we do scans in the office, okay? I use an in-body 570. I'm going to kind of show you a little bit of a scan. And what that does is, because it separates water, muscle, and fat, not just showing weight, the muscle determines how many calories. This person, for example, needs 1,513 calories, okay?
And say that
That's
again.
What it needs.
All right, so you just said that real quickly. Based on
Okay, I'm going to slow down.
How do I know what I need? You've taken some sort of scan.
Yes.
You said based on muscle and some other things. How do I determine how much I need?
Yes. Yeah. How much muscle on the body determines how many calories that you need. And I'll tell you, for example, this one here. So we have this scan here. Okay. And this client came in and she has no thyroid. She has Graves' disease. They actually radiated her thyroid and gave her too much that affected her pituitary gland. And they told her, sorry, you'll never lose weight. And so for 5 years, she struggled, could not lose any weight. She was eating so little.
Yeah. Right.
Her BMR is 1,511 calories. And basal metabolic rate, BMR. And so she was coming in, she was probably eating about 1,000 calories. And how do we determine that? All of my clients keep a notebook. And so I actually add up their meals to see how many calories that they're eating.
Okay.
And so we determined it was about 1,000, 1,100, and she increased her food by about 500 calories. We have to balance macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats. It's not like, hey, I'm going to eat 500 calories of potato salad or apple pie, right? Doesn't work that way. She actually, in 4 months, was able to lose 31 pounds of fat, 0 muscle. Okay. This is
incredible.
5 pounds of fat. Okay.
Ooh, yee.
Ooh, I got lots of fat here. So my desk is full of fat because I like to show my clients what they've lost. And she was eating too little. Like, she would literally walk up the stairs and drink a protein shake just to get a little bit in because she didn't get her calories in. And when we go below that, another example, I have a client who came in, her doctor had given her an app, right? No one did the scan to see how much muscle she had. So the app is an algorithm and it says, oh, Mrs. Smith, you need 1,200 calories. Well, Mrs. Smith for 3 months was like, what the heck? I can't lose any weight. So we put her on the body composition machine. Because she was working out and had muscle, her BMR was 1,500. So she added another 300 calories to her diet each day, and she started losing fat.
We won't hold you to the math. We'll figure out the math ourselves.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I know. I'm like, what am I doing? She actually, thank you. She actually started losing weight by eating more food. And every day that app told her, oh, you're over consuming, you're eating too much. Yet the weight was going down and the fat was going down.
All right, Dr. Trinh, did you hear what she said? Two patients ate more and lost more.
Yes, because it's not about the calories, right? Because if I ate 1,000 calories of ice cream and I ate 1,000 calories of broccoli, they're the same calories, but yet I'm going to lose weight on one of those. Does that make sense?
Not really. Why does that work in your body? Why does broccoli not add weight and ice cream does? Because it has more fat in it?
And it's not about just the word fat, because there's good fat and there's bad fat. So our body needs fat. It just needs the good fat. And what is the good fat? Well, the good fat is nuts, omega-3 fatty acid, which is fish. Good fat is olive oil. So there's good fat. And then, of course, there's bad fat. So it's not about the calories when you think about it, Paul, because even when we talk and teach about intermittent fasting, which we do a lot, right? You don't eat for a certain number of hours and you eat within this hours. In our teaching about intermittent fasting, we have never said you have to be on a low-calorie diet. It's a time-restricted diet. So when we're all thinking about low-calorie diet to lose weight, we're going down the wrong path, because low-calorie diet on a long-term basis, our body gets used to it, and it's like, I'm going to adapt my metabolism to a low-calorie diet. So when you're done with your low-calorie diet, your body, again, is at a slow metabolism, which is why we get our weight back. So it's not about being on a low-calorie diet. It's about being on the right type
the
of
right calorie diet, not low calorie, the right calorie diet here.
That's right. The right macronutrients to support our body.
All right. Penny's ready to jump back in. She's eager to jump on something you said here. So go.
Yeah. You know what? Again, I have people that come in with the intermittent fasting and they'll eat 2 meals so little, right? And they call intermittent fasting, but actually still starving themselves. So they're exhausted. Their organs didn't get enough food. And if we don't eat enough food, we cannot repair our body at night when we're sleeping. So Dr. Trinh is actually right, because it's not low calorie restrictive diet in that 8 hours or 6 hour span that someone's doing. You actually have to eat food. And we see that.
And I would say, and I'm not picking on my wife, but she's small and she eats very small and always has her life. And I suspect her body has adapted to that, because she's incorporated this idea, because her mother was heavy, so I'm never going to be heavy. And she's incorporated this idea that I just have to almost live on nothing. And if I can learn to do that, I know lots of women that do this. If I can just starve myself, learn to live on very little, I'll stay little. And yet it doesn't always work.
No, because you lose muscle, right? So the thing is you keep losing muscle, the body stores the fat, and the muscle determines how many calories we burn. And I'll tell you, I've been here for 3.5 years at this location. I was calculating because I was teaching at a esthetician show. I've done over 11,000 scans with the InBody and compared over 11,000 times notebooks. And across the board, like I had one gentleman, across the board, I'll tell you, if you don't eat right, whether it's over consuming or not eating enough, you actually still gain weight, fat. And sometimes the weight stays the same. And so people keep doing the same thing. They don't realize the composition, what's going on behind the scenes. And so we are losing muscle and the fat went up. And like, what the heck? What do you mean? I just hiked for 10 hours.
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
Did you feed yourself food? And they're like, well, not really. And so the body, again, needs it. If you stayed in bed all day long and did nothing, you're laying down, right? Your body needs that 1,500 or 1,200, whatever it is for you. The moment you wake up and you said you actually burn more calories than that. So to determine how many calories exactly you need each day, you would have like a electronic watch, like an Apple or Fitbit, and add it to your BMR. That would know how many calories exactly. And then you can go down from there. So it's very exciting. Like I have a client who she just lost in 5 weeks. She came twice a week. So in 10 sessions, she lost 23 pounds of fat. Wow. Okay. What does that look like? I mean, I'm going to show you because actually we just bought some more fat. I love having all this fat on my desk. And so we have, this is like here, 1, this is 5, this is 10, this is 15. This is not even all what you lost, right?
Oh my word.
15 is another 5 pounds. Okay. And another 3 pounds. She lost that in 5 weeks.
Oh my goodness. Now, I'm just trying to wrap my head around, because I think this is the underlying mistake we all make, which is more food, more weight, less food, less weight. It's that simple. It's just an intake calculus. So if you want to lose weight, eat less. Then we say, but you got to eat better in the right food. All right, so I'll cut out some of the bad food and I'll eat better food. I'll eat salads, I'll eat other sorts of things. But you're saying even that, even if I'm a vegetarian and I'm eating very little salad, I'm eating no fat, I'm eating nothing bad for me, I can still gain weight.
Yeah.
Because I'm not eating enough. I'm eating too little or too many calories, and my body's just out of whack somehow.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I had a client that actually came in, she bought a package to do red light therapy. She went and did liposuction, to be faster, right? She came back 3 months later, and she actually had more fat on her after the liposuction than before. Now, I know. And it didn't go in the stomach, it went other places, right? What happened was she didn't realize she was not eating enough food. We looked at her scans and her notebook, and she gained weight from not eating enough food. And I see it all the time. There's a certain point, even when we're eating healthy, that it goes below that because the body wants to make sure it stays alive tomorrow and says, you know what? That's great that you're only eating so little. We need different macronutrients, the protein, fats, and carbs. Again, healthy fats.
Last question, then we'll get to red light. What other effects does this have on your body, Dr. Trinh, if I'm eating too little or too much? How does it affect my hormone levels or my mood or my sleeping? Or is any of that affected by your weight?
Absolutely. What's more important, as opposed to eating too much or too little, is what you're eating. And for example, if all you're eating was ice cream all day, it's not necessarily the calories from the ice cream, it's the sugar that increases. And that sugar, when it's not burnt, creates inflammation, gets into your liver cells, causes fatty liver, and then gets into your fat cells and causes you to gain weight. If you're eating broccoli all day and you're of it, you're not going to gain weight. Why is that? Again, it's not the calories. Because when you're eating broccoli all day, it's the fiber you're taking in. Fiber does not convert to fat. Sugar converts to fat. Does that make sense, Paul?
But if I'm hearing Penny correctly, I could eat too little. I could literally eat too little broccoli if I just lived on a handful of broccoli and think I'm being healthy. And instead, I'm eating too little.
I do see that by comparing the reports and to the scans, because your body needs food to live, right?
It needs calories. It needs appropriate calories. If you're eating too little, as I mentioned, if you're eating too little every day, your body is smart. It is going to accommodate with the fact that you're eating too little by slowing down its metabolism so that you will survive, right? And then when you decide one day, hey, I'm done with this too little broccoli diet, and you go back to a regular diet, your body is in slow mode. And that's why you gain weight.
And I guess what I was trying to get at is weight tied to other things, to your mood, to your sleeping, or is it just simply it's hard on my heart?
Yeah, hormones. Weight is tied very strongly to hormone, and the hormone behind weight is insulin. And insulin is tied to sugar.
I see this in nearly everybody my age. As we pass a certain age, as we get into 60s or later into 70s, everybody gains weight. Every woman I've ever met in my life, my mother, everybody I ever knew gained weight as she got older. My father gained weight as he got older. I'm gained some weight as I've gotten older. Why is that? And we think, I haven't changed my eating habits any, but maybe my exercise is a little less. That's what we think. But why is it that suddenly people gain weight as they get older here?
The thing is, as we get older, we're losing muscle mass, okay? So if you actually look at people in the gym, I mean, there's 90-year-old people that have a lot of muscle on them because you have to eat enough protein, so you get the amino acids from the protein to build muscle. Even if you're a vegan, you can combine vegetables to almost make a complete protein, but if you're just eating one source, it's incomplete, and we're not feeding the muscle the amino acids it needs to grow. And we also need to do weight-bearing exercises. There's a lot that goes into it. And one thing you touched on was the stress I wanted to talk about. We do work on that in the office because we do light and sound therapy. The thing is that I had a client that gained 7 pounds of fat in 1 week. Not from overeating, because she had so much stress. 7 pounds of fat. We did a scan. We do a scan every time my clients come in. And as she came back a week later, she had gained 7 pounds of fat. So we work on stress. Like these are some light and sound therapy glasses. We have a whole relaxation room. So clients come in and listen to music. For example, I had a lady that came in. She's been gaining weight. You know, she lost her husband 7 months ago.
Right.
She just came to me last Friday and she came back and she told me when she came in, she says, I left your office because we did light therapy too. She's like, okay, lady, whatever. This is not going to work, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm going to eat more. Okay. So she ate more food. She forced herself, even though she's not hungry because she's sad because she lost her husband.
Exactly.
And we did the scan and her body released actually 4 pounds of fat because she ate more. She tried to do a little more meditation at home. I actually sent her home with a pair of glasses to help her sleep and her daughter as well, too. That way she can bring her in.
Because as we get older, everything seems to get disrupted. Our circle of friends shrinks. Our activity level shrinks. I also know other people, my father was one of these, that said, I'm just not hungry anymore as I get older. I'm just not hungry. So he wouldn't eat. And not because he was starving himself. He just wasn't doing much. And he's 80, 90. And as he didn't lose weight, he gained weight.
A lot of people that come in, my clients, only eat about twice a day because they tell me they're not hungry, right?
Yeah, right.
And I tell them, we need to eat about 4 times a day. And my thing is whether you do intermittent fasting, because I like to help people, I meet them where they're at. I can give you a perfect diet, you lose all the weight, boom, boom, you're done. And then you gain it back like we talked about, right? Because you don't know what to do. So as we get older, to go back to the question, we're losing our muscle. If we don't feed the metabolism the right food, this needs the amino acids from the protein. What are we eating? It really depends. So when I have people eat more food, they start telling me, oh my God, I'm getting hungry. Because a lot of times the body will stop telling you it's hungry. There's also people overconsume. So that's a whole different thing that.
Yeah, no, I think that we were
about that side, right? Because it's not only.
We're always familiar with that. People just can't stop eating. Just put it down. Don't eat if you're not hungry. I get all that. Lots of people, the whole Weight Watchers programs and all that. I'm very familiar with all that. But I'm fascinated by people who slowing down, eating less, eating little, and still not working.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Again, we're losing our muscle mass. If you're not telling your body, because at one point, sometimes I still, don't tell me I'm hungry, body. No, I don't have time. I don't have time to eat. I'm busy. I'm watching TV. I'll do later. But at one point, as I tell my clients, the body stops telling you it's hungry. It's not, because you're not listening anyway. So why should it tell you? And when we start eating again, even if it's a bite to get it used to eating again, it actually turns the metabolism back on. And I hear most of my clients are over 50. They're in their 60s and 70s.
Right.
Okay, we're not talking about young teenagers. We're talking about elderly, that they start getting hungry again because like, okay, fine, Penny told me to eat. And they do, and they don't believe it. And then they come back, they go, oh my God, I lost fat. I feel better. Because again, if you're eating so little, well, guess what? Your body is exhausted.
Yeah.
It needs food to work. All these organs need nutrition. I bought this because our brain needs proper nutrition. Dr. Trinh is the brain expert, and tell you we need proper nutrition for the brain, the heart, everything, our lungs.
So talk about that, Dr. Trinh, the connection between not just losing weight, but feeling better, feeling more alert, not feeling tired, not feeling depressed, not feeling all these other things. Because I think that's, as we get older, don't we do that more? You get sadder, you get quieter.
There was a study recently published, which was really interesting. And that study basically concluded that the Mediterranean diet helped with depression. And so you're like, what?
Yeah.
How does a diet help with depression?
Exactly.
If I'm depressed, I'll eat all the ice cream I want to help me, right? But that study shows that depression is linked to diet. And it's very interesting that your mental health is linked to what you eat. So if you want to feel good, there are certain macronutrients within that Mediterranean diet that help balances out your mental health. And as far as why people lose weight or why people gain weight from mental health, we know that stress offsets the balance of the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, right? The HPA axis. And that axis, that connection between the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal is where cortisone is being produced, your own natural steroid. And when we are stressed, we produce a higher level of cortisol, of your own natural steroid, and we know that steroid is linked to sugar. So it off balances your sugar level by increasing your sugar from stress. And as I mentioned before, sugar is a big culprit in activating insulin, and insulin is a big culprit in activating weight gain.
What about menopause for women? Is that part of this whole equation too? Your hormones are out of balance and therefore your body's out of balance somehow? I don't really understand how this all works.
Yes, absolutely. Your estrogen is out of balance, and as you know, the older we get, our organs slow down, including our thyroid. And so the thyroid is the switch for metabolism. If your thyroid is fast, then your metabolism is fast. If your thyroid is slow, your metabolism is slow. And we know that as we get older and we're checking these thyroid levels in older folks, we find a higher prevalence of hypothyroidism as we get older, which means our metabolism is getting slower, which is why we have weight gain.
And how would I check my thyroid? Anybody else? Is there a blood test? Is there a scan? I don't know. What do you do to check your thyroid? And nobody's ever asked me to check my thyroid.
Simple blood test, Paul. Simple blood test.
All right. So when I come into your clinic, Penny, now we'll get into the red light stuff. I walk in a door, I'm overweight, I'm underweight, I'm not feeling good, I'm feeling tired, I can't sleep, I'm anxious, all sorts of other stuff. And you're going to say, let's look at the weight. Let's look at not just your weight, let's look at your intake. what you need and what you're doing. And let's start with that. This BMI index or something.
I actually don't use the BMI index because it only shows height and weight.
Okay.
And actually, it was created by a mathematician over 130 years ago, and it can't see within the body. So I use, like I was showing you earlier, the body composition analysis scan. So what it does is it gives me the weight. We put the height, and we actually have a height meter because a lot of times people don't even know really how tall they really are. So I put them on it, and they're always like, what? I shrunk 2 inches?
Yeah, I think
no way, you know, and I'm like, well, it's possible that when you looked at yourself and they put the measuring device at another office on the wall, they didn't measure correctly because no one's checking the construction workers' work to see it's exactly at a quarter inch up or to half an inch down.
Close,
right?
Yeah,
no one's looking at that. So we have a platform they stand on, and it actually has a device that goes up and down to check their height. So that's the first thing we look at.
Okay.
Because a lot of times we start getting sloppy and we sit down like this. So and then now they start going, oh my God, hold on, let me do it again, right? Let me get taller. Then we put them on the machine once you know how tall they are, and it'll send a signal. They use bioimpedance. It sends a signal through the body. Someone's a pacemaker. We cannot do it. It's not healthy for them. They can't because it can throw everything off. So we put them through. It takes 2 minutes. It will scan their arms. It separates the arms, the legs, the torso composition. So we can see how much fat, how much muscle, how much water as well. And it now, since we know how much muscle is on the body, it gives us the basal metabolic rate, the minimum calories to eat each day just to stay alive. We do that. We have an intake form. Again, it points to all of what you talked about, right? Do they have a thyroid issue? I want to know if they've had surgeries. Like I've had people who had gastric bypass and then they forget to tell me until we're talking. I'm like, you know, you just passed by all these organs. You need to tell people that. That's not a non-invasive surgery. So we do that. And then most people come in for red light therapy.
All right, now we're to red light. So the red light goes on, whoop, 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 whoop. And what happens? I don't even know. This sounds exotic to me. Go ahead.
It's so fun. So we do have a full body bed. It looks like a tanning bed, the frame, so we can imagine what it looks like. But it has near infrared light, which is the 880 nanometer, which helps with injuries and pain and actually repairing, helps the body produce collagen. There's over, 8,000 studies, even more on PubMed.gov about red light therapy and what we see with it. The red light helps open up the fat cells. The body is able to, we'll pretend it's a fat cell again, liquefies the fat and then opens up the fat cells. The fat comes out of the fat cell. And then it'll go through the lymphatic system and process through the liver. We do that. So they sit there, they do the therapies. If it's a pad system, they sit there for 20 minutes, they relax. We also put the glasses on them so we can relax for that 20 minutes. Or if it's a full bed, we put eye protection on and they just sit there for 12 minutes. And they feel amazing. I have people who have neuropathy. They can't feel their feet. Yeah. It helps with that. So we're mostly focusing on weight loss in here, but it does help with other items as well. And we have a pad system. We actually have, let me show you one of the domes here. I'm going to turn this on here. This is our face dome here. So I put it so it kind of glows on my face here, right?
Uh-oh.
Super bright. So
this infrared light, you're using different spectrums of infrared light to do what? To open up the fat cells?
Yes.
To get the fat out and to do what else? Does it drain your lymphatic system? I don't know. Does it do
but
anything?
We have to. So now that it's going to go through lymphatics, now we give them detox tea for the liver is one thing. So I'll tell you about the whole protocol we do. Once you're done with the therapy, we put you on a whole body vibration. So it starts basically moving everything.
A whole body vibration. Okay.
You're shaking, right? You're standing on the shaker and you're shaking. Yep. And we take a handheld massager. Let me get that here. Just a massage like you take it home. And we start pushing the fat out of the area. And so we do that. And then there's protocols about diet. Like now that we release fat, we want to utilize this for energy. So my clients for the 2 days after we do this, the day we do and the day after, they don't eat bread and oatmeal, anything starchy, right? They can have lots of vegetables, low glycemic, greens, broccolis, things like that, green beans, with protein and healthy fats. And then they have to wear a compression to push the fat out of the area. So it's a whole protocol they do. And on average, my clients lose each time they come in 1 pound of fat.
Wow. 1 pound. Zap.
1 pound. If they do the full body bed, most clients lose 2 pounds of fat. Okay. And they're eating food.
I hate to ask because there's no price for health, but what's the price to do this? Because this is not paid through insurance or anything, I'm assuming.
Well, if they have an HSA insurance policy, and if doctors recommend it, they will be covered.
That's a health savings account.
Health savings,
if you left your money aside here. But just roughly, so everybody's going to want to know what.
Yes. So if they're coming just one time, it's $400. But if they buy a package, they come down to $200. And it's really not bad at all.
Yeah. And how many treatments do you recommend? Is this something I can just do once and be gone?
You can, and you would lose just that 1 pound. But at least people, depends on how much weight they lose. So if they want to lose 6 pounds, let's say, right, and they come in and they're doing one area in the stomach, they'll lose about 1 pound. So they'll come in 6 times. Like my client who came in and lost the 31 pounds of fat in the 4 months, she did 18 sessions. And so roughly that was about $300 that she paid in that package. So what, less than $6,000?
Yeah, right.
For 31 pounds of fat.
And does it stay off? Because I'll give you the saddest example. I've seen this in several cases where people do gastric bypass. They do something severe because they're always chronically overweight. They say their metabolism's off or they can't stop or whatever combination is. I don't know why people are always 300 pounds or whatever or more. But I've known some people in my family, and when they did it, they looked wonderful for a while, and it went right back.
In here, what I do is we don't just do the red light therapy. I am teaching people how to eat healthier. They have to move because the more they move, the more they lose. So the day after, I tell them the day we do it, the day after, you got to exercise, right? And it's not extreme. It's like walking for 20 minutes. Now, if you don't teach someone, if they don't know what to do after they've done gastric bypass, or they eat so little, right? And it depends if they have the sleeve done or they have all these different surgeries and they gain weight again, or they do liposuction, they gain weight.
Exactly.
Because we're not looking at what they're eating. So my clients with their workbooks, for example, they keep track, whether it's in the app and then we can print it, or they write in paper because I have a whole notebook set up. They can model those pages and it'll work. So when you're losing fat and the metabolism is working the way it's supposed to, if you overconsume 100 extra calories or 500 extra calories, what do you need to do? The thing is, I'm giving them tools to actually go forward. I teach them about meditation and relaxation. And they can, if they want to purchase the glasses, right? They're only $400. They have different programs for relaxation, for stress reduction. So that's another thing. Like I said, if you can gain weight from stress, cortisol goes up. Dr. Trinh went through everything like that. But it's teaching someone how to eat and continue eating. So I work with whatever culture you are. See, I can give you perfect food, right? Lose the weight, and then you're done. Now what do you do?
I'm going to go back to the same ethnic diet, lots of fats or lots of oils or lots of whatever it is, and lots of meat. This is what we all eat.
Or a lot of people who are, I'll tell you, a lot of vegetarians are grainitarians, I call them, because they eat a lot of the beans, a lot of the rice, right? And it's too much. And so when we start portioning that part, and then if you have 10 cups of broccoli, you're not going to gain weight, right? You're going to be full. So we balance everything. And so you need to have healthy fats, and carbohydrates are not bad for you. They give you energy.
Well, my wife's a vegetarian and she does it on principle. And I get that and I appreciate that. But I always wonder if she's really got a balanced diet because of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
but take a look at it.
It can be, but you've got to make up for other things here and do that. I think this is all wild. How did you come up with this, Penny? I never heard of any of this stuff. You're just casually saying, I'm doing some kind of scan. I send a pulse through your body, and then we run ultraviolet rays, and then we do this, and then we compress it. You act like this is, I could go get this anywhere. I don't think there's anywhere I could go get this information.
Yeah. One of the first things I bought in my practice when I opened up 5 years ago in Newport Beach, I had a small little office just doing nutritional consulting, genetic testing. And I invested in the in-body scan because when you can see behind the body, behind the scale, and you can show someone that, hey, look, you lost muscle and not fat because of the way that you ate, it opens up somebody's eyes instead of me telling them, hey, you know what, do this, but they don't know what's going on in their body, right? Sometimes we lose muscle and water. We think we're doing something correctly. And if you go to a facility that only uses a scale, they say, hey, good job. Keep doing what you're doing, right? But when you can show someone that, hey, by the way, unless your goal is to lose water and muscle and to gain fat, then we'll keep doing what you're doing.
That's my goal. I want to lose muscle. I want to gain fat. But can you help me do that? I'm pretty good at that.
I say like that because it's a choice, right? So if I empower people to actually make a decision of what they want to do because they get to see actually the scans here. So it's not me just pretending as to what's going on. Now, red light therapy, I discovered 3.5 years ago. I didn't believe it would work. I actually had done a thing called Zerona years ago. It was like this red light that would float all over you. It didn't work. So a friend of mine, he went to purchase one of the machines and I got on it. And from the first time that I did red light therapy, I saw a difference in my own body. Then I invested almost $30,000 in my first machine.
Right.
Why? Because it worked. and I felt amazing. And the best part is that as my clients lose fat, it has the ability to help the body produce collagen to repair the skin. So because people lose all this fat and now they got saggy skin to deal with, and that's an issue. So now it actually comes up. I had one client, she's like, oh my God, I can see it for the first time. My stomach is coming up. Wow. And it's encouraging. And it's hard when you don't know what you're doing and you think, you're like, why is it going up and down? I also teach about what's going on. You should weigh more at the end of the day than in the morning. Why? Because you just nourished your body and hydrated it.
Right.
So we're looking at a whole balance when, like, I have bottles of water that say 1 pound and I have the muscle and the fat. And when people tell me, well, I don't want to drink water, right? Because I don't like water. I'm like, well, you can decide if you want to keep your kidneys or not.
Well, I think we should open up another business, Dr. Trinh, that everybody who wants to get healthy goes to Penny, and everybody who doesn't want to get healthy, I can show them how to live unhealthy. If that's the choice you want to make, if you want to lose a body mass, if you want to lose sleep, if you want to feel lethargic, I know how to do that really good. So come to me. If they don't want to pay you, they should pay me, and I'll make them feel really bad. What do you think of that? It's exciting.
So we've been helping people here in the office for 3.5 years with my protocols with food. And again, showing scan. This is the most important part. When I had this machine in the 5 years, it stopped working twice because the arms broke. And I called my clients, do you want to come in or not? They say no, because why? They don't know if they actually move forward, because I taught them to know that this is more important than scale.
Trust the data. Trust the data. That's a Dr. Trin's mantra all the time. Trust the data. Everybody's always asking him what, and he says, give me the data.
So what's exciting about it is now we have the manufacturer that makes my pad system now has made a system for home that has the same power as we do have here in the office.
Right.
And I've been asking for this because I have clients that come in that have family members all over the U.S.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, can you help them? I can help them with the scans, no problem, because I send them to facilities with this. But I didn't have facilities to send them for the red lights. I mean, there's other facilities around, but a lot of people don't focus on body comp. And they're like, hey, here's some pills, right? It's okay to take some vitamins, but here's this crash diet. You have a doctor in New York who's like, hey, I'm incorporating this diet. I'm like, gosh, you're only going to give him 700 calories a day for 3 months. And so he put a couple of his patients on there, including his wife, and he goes, it's not sustainable. I'm like, that's why I said I'm out. I don't look at it like that. There's things that work for eating food.
It's not sustainable. That's the key. I have not really struggled with weight. I've gained some weight as I've gotten older, and I won't deny that. But I have never been 300 pounds, and I've had family members in my extended family that struggle with weight their whole life. My dad to a little extent. Yeah. And I sympathize with them because whatever they try, it doesn't work for long. Yeah. It works for a while.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if any of these, my first impulse is, whether it's you or anybody, yeah, you can all figure out a way to lose weight in the short run, but can I keep it off? That's the key. But you're teaching people to change their perception of why weight loss works. It's not just eating less, it's eating right. It's eating the right amount, and maybe even eating more than you're eating.
Yeah, and feeling better.
Yeah.
I just feel like the client who lost the 23 pounds, she's 100 pounds overweight, right? And she was struggling and nothing was working for her. Right. And she feels so much better. And again, the nice thing, she's not going to have loose skin like with losing it with.
Because one leads to the next. I hate to admit this, but we've had people on shows that said, I was overweight my whole life. And when I lost the weight, I lost who I was. And I didn't feel comfortable with that. As much as I didn't think I wanted to be overweight, on some level, I guess it sort of defined who I was. Some people say it explained, well, that's why I didn't get the job. That's why I'm not happy. I'm overweight. And then they lose the weight. They still got those problems like, oops, then I got to look deeper within. So lots of issues that come. Weight is a very sensitive issue. I have a friend of mine, his wife's been in Weight Watchers for her whole life. She trains and everything. It really is more than just about, oh, I want to fit into my clothes better. It becomes your self-image. It becomes your whole lifestyle. It defines who you are in a certain sense.
Yeah. My clients, we treat them as family, right? I'm here because there is so many different aspects of weight loss. I have one client who lost her friend at the shooting in Las Vegas 5 years ago, right? Yikes. And so we work with her differently. There's so many different aspects that we work on here. Yeah. And I'm grateful I have so many different tools to help people. Like we have a whole relaxation room that has infrared saunas. And each time my clients come in, they finish in the sauna, in the infrared sauna with a cup of detox tea. So to remind them how to relax. Like my sister had a stroke 3 years ago. Okay. She still hasn't fully recovered. She would never slow down. And I took it upon myself to build a center that was not just, hey, come in and get weight done, right? It's a mini spa day because we live in this fast-paced world.
We sure do. We sure do.
And whether you're an executive or a mom, it's still busy.
And I'm reminded by, we're taping this in October of 2022. I have some family back in Pennsylvania, and they're always pointing out this 6'8", bald-headed, seems like he's this macho, real in-shape guy that's running for governor back there, and he's only in his 40s, I think, or 50, and he had a stroke, and he almost died because he would never stop. I'm Superman. I can go. I can walk. He works out intensely. He walks intensely, pushes himself intensely, and he has pushed himself right into a stroke at an early age because he wouldn't listen and he wouldn't slow down. That's the model we all have, the super achievers, the super moms, the super executives. I can go through anything here. Then we wonder why we're overweight and weak, and then we just think you got to gut it out and push through it.
Yeah.
Eat less, push harder, push yourself faster. Somehow we got to slow down and we got to really take a look at what's going on.
Slow down. And, sometimes I'll tell you these. I keep going back to these because a lot of things I just talk about is God brought a lot of stuff to me. I didn't really look for them.
Right.
They kind of found me. And these have been lifesavers for my clients because sometimes you have so much stress, you cannot shut your brain down.
No. I see more and more people like that. My brain never shuts. I can't sleep. It's always active. I'm go.
With me too. Like people say meditate. I'm like, yeah, okay, right. Yeah. I got to do this and that. So with these glasses, which Dr. Trinh has tried them as well. They're fun on the back room, but they were able to slow down the brain a little bit, let it relax a little bit to actually release stress.
Let's end it there. How do people reach you?
So you can reach us at FoskarisWellness.com.
Spell that.
F like Frank, O-S, like Sam, Karis,
okay,
like Sam. So FoskarisWellness.com. And I'll tell you, all of your viewers, they want to come in, just mention that they're friends of the show and they view the show. We'll do the body composition for free. Normally it's $30 for 2 scans, but we'll do the scan, no charge. That way, whatever they're doing, they can see if they are getting the results that they want. So we'll give them the 2 scans so they can actually see if they need improvement.
I would love to bring my wife there and try that and see if it does, because she's 70 and she's going through all sorts of changes in her body. She's always uncomfortable, had menopause for 10 years now and can't seem to get out of it, can't sleep, muscles, everything breaks easily, tears easily. And she's little, she doesn't eat a lot, she eats very little. And somehow there's something out of whack going on here and we can't figure out what it is.
Okay.
All right. Well, good.
I'd love to see her. Thank you so much.
All right, well, hang on. And you're in Anaheim Hills. That's where you're located.
I am, yes, Anaheim Hills.
Foskaris Wellness. All right, hang on for 1 second after Rover. I'm going to get some information from you, and we applaud everybody to go look, because this is what it's all about. Slow down and find out what's really happening in your body today. Well, there you have it, folks. One more reason to tune in each and every time to Health Talks with Dr. Trinh, as we talk to the healthiest people we know about finding your own health path forward. Streaming live from our studios here at OC Talk Radio. Applied Innovation Center.